everyone. Welcome back to another of my morning painting sessions. I'm sketching out an idea that I had. Just finalizing a few of the outlines of the main subject. Good morning, everyone. It's nice to see everyone on the chat. This is going to be a very, very fun painting to do today. Lots of blues, lots of accented oranges and yellows. I think this will definitely be an adventure today. I'm really excited to dive in, quite literally, into this painting. I'm just doing like a rough draft right now with my pencil. Nothing too fancy, just something that I could base upon. There you go. I'm just going to be adding a lot of blues, such as like the fluorescent blue, the ultramarines, the cobalts. Be a little bit of everything.
You're gay?
I'm not.
And every
He
color
texted me.
that I place on the palette will have its own purpose. I really do know that, you know, just by feeling, you don't have to figure out the name in its entirety. If you just kind of see it and feel these colors, everything will come together. Almost half of the colors that I work with, I don't know their names, so I have a tendency just to go off of my eyes and take it from there. As you can tell, I'm working on a pre-gessoed black canvas. This will be a good starting ground because naturally, I do enjoy working from a pre-primed white canvas, but this is a pre-primed gessoed black canvas, which gives me already a layered, pre-layered canvas that's really necessary before painting. Because some of the colors won't seep through and show all those hidden white specks. So I'm just gonna play around with all these blues today. First things first, I'm gonna start off by coating a very thin layer across the whole board. Just a thin layer, even over the sketch itself. go straight into the lightest of the light color right now, as best as I can. I think this is a good one. And I'm just gonna kind of play around with this. Because the base layer is still a little bit wet, it's kind of fun playing and blending into that still wet layer. Just not worried about any details as of this moment, just tracing around some of these edges just to give an idea of what we're working with. Nothing too perfect. That's the key. Someone asked in the chat, please give us some painting advice. Well, that is a very, very big question, because that is something no artist can truly give in a few sentences. More like it'll probably take a few years to answer this question. But I would say the biggest advice that I can give in a very short amount of time is to keep moving the brush. Keep moving. Don't stop, because the moment you stop and too much contemplate on things, on the subject or on the detail matter, it will stop the creative process. So my advice is not to think too much and let the brush be your train that will take you to that place, the finish line. I think even if it's just a small little glimpse of an idea that you have, that's all it takes to start. The biggest step is starting, and no one talks about this that much. going to be doing is I'm going to be slightly doing a gradient outward from the center, because this will be a good first couple layers for me to build on the distant corals to the more nearer ones. So I feel that the best way first to do is just to give like a very generic color format. So that is what I'm doing right now, and then I'm going to go back into it and go from the furthest distance to the nearest distance. That is the key. I want to create those layers, those landscapes, because having that depth perception and the just those layers, they really add up. If you do it correctly, I think it's well worth it in the end. Blending outward, not having the perfect circle, just enough. That'll give an idea. Not perfect, but just by moving the brush, going up and down, and just feeling where the water is going to be ending and beginning, or going further back. Playing with this is the funnest part of the whole painting. It's not too much structure, so that's why it's so fun. I love the way that someone wrote, "You're playing, she's playing on the swing." Yes, we're both playing together. We always have to dive into our childlike play. I think that is very important in life in general. Once we start forgetting about that, that's when we slowly start aging. And I think that's the key to being, living your best, is to tap back into your childhood feels and wants and play, and a lot of people forget that, and it's so important. Even to this day, I really do enjoy, playing with my brothers. Even though we're much older, we're all adults, it's still so fun to at least forget for a moment that we're all adults, but in those moments it just feels so carefree, and time stops and we're just laughing and just enjoying time. I think that is life worth living for, is those moments. similar how you, like, when you dive underwater, it just feels all the noise and all the distractions of the world just feels like they just slip away. And I could only imagine probably that's how some of the astronauts, when they go up into space, like that's how they feel when they look down below, of how everything is so, all the worries are just so small. I think we can tap into that, or feel at least a little bit of that right here, right now, on our own Earth, of diving underwater and feeling that time just stop. I'm going to bring a little bit more brightness onto this side, I feel. Maybe a little here. Just like that. Then, let's see, I'm gonna get a larger brush, just like this. Not too straight, it has to be a little bit more of a rounded one. And I just will bounce around with this brush. Just bouncing. Just slowly, gently going in the horizontal lines, just to smooth it out just a little bit. The key is for me to get a nice layer of light and go in on top of the light with some shadows and some shapes that will be able to create that underwater feel. And to do that, I like to create that light first. It's much easier for me. So there you go. There you go. That's good. I'm gonna go back. My paper towel. I'm going to use one of my favorite brushes. It's actually from my own brush line. I absolutely use this for everything. Quite literally everything. Almost all my paintings. It's very, very versatile. I really, really enjoy this. I'm going to go first from the far distant perception. So I think I'm going to start right here and start adding some little movements of water that is just touching the surface, and I'm going to go darker, darker, and darker. So that is the goal. See what happens. And if it doesn't work, we'll just have to take it from there. There's no set of rules at all in painting, just set of concepts and theories. the artist's responsibility to make it into a reality, these types of theories. Cannot go wrong with a morning cup of tea as well. It's my go-to to start my day and to start my morning with it. Using this brush to really start the movements above the surface. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time, but I think it's very well needed to be waited for, because without these important brush strokes, it wouldn't begin to feel like it's like the water moving. So these are very important. It might seem insignificant. It's very vital. So I kind of have to take my time on creating these seemingly like insignificant lines, but they are quite important. kind of have a little bit of a generic outline of some of these ripples. Now I'm gonna go back into it and capture more of those key lights. So I'm gonna be taking my brush into the water and trying to wash as much as I can out of it. And creating a little bit more of a lighter tone, possibly more of like a turquoise color. So we'll be adding that in. If you ever had the chance to go underwater, whether it was scuba diving, snorkeling, spearfishing, or just good old-fashioned swimming, there's always this partition where there's like the huge long distance in the water where you see the horizon, and then there's a slight gradient shadow that separates the whole panoramic view underwater versus the overwater. So that's what I'm trying to do, is create a little bit of the separation, a little bit more light here, and then some of the really powerful light coming down. Thank you so much, Chris, for your message. I really, really appreciate it. This is the best way to start my day too. Painting with you all. I'm going to use this light and slowly start to gravitate towards upward, towards the ceiling. I'm going a little bit more lighter than usual, what I would do, because afterwards I'm going to glaze it with this beautiful, beautiful color. I think it was called, I don't know what it's called, but I'm going to be glazing it, and it's going to have this beautiful turquoise color. That's one of the feelings I really do want to evoke, is this utter peacefulness in this mysterious world that seems so foreign to us. And there is this very awakening thought of the things that are quite frightening, the things that are unknown, mysterious. They tend to really take a grip on us, and sometimes it doesn't do us any good, because in the end I feel that those are those moments where we can find the most peace and the most adventurous, by diving into the unknown. And I think that throughout all my world travels and through my life experiences, I did realize that if you are in that state of mind of being open to possibilities and open to see the world as it is, like a curious nomad, I think everything will be so much more brilliant and bright and just beautiful. And it takes a certain amount of time to reach to that level of the openness and being curious without having a lot of these filters and a lot of these preconceived notions of our thoughts, our beliefs. There's something about it, just flying above it or swimming below, or just purely observing. The art of observing has been quite lost over the last few years, and I feel that if we can do that, I think that's so powerful. And I think it's best to try to remember that feeling of being like an observer or a nomad. It's very powerful. As you can see, I'm kind of utilizing this light and start creating some ridges and some movements in the background. It's so fun to play around with. Before I go into the coral areas that are going to be around this location, I'm kind of almost going to be forming some distant trees that is underground. Underwater. There is a message, I think, from Donna. She says, "I'm suffering severe depression. I see myself plugging in the depths, drowning with nobody to help me pull out. This image of a girl in a swing in those depths is repainting my fears to be more a positive place." Thank you, Donna, for sharing. That's it's a very, very deep message, and I think it's probably very difficult to write it out of what you were feeling. And that's something that I really do hope that with my works and with my poetry, that they're able to reimagine some of those fears and try to recreate that hope that was almost like buried. And I feel that sometimes we just need a little bit of a reminder, and I hope to be that bridge between the known and the unknown. I'm going to go to a very, very bright white with a touch of quinacridone red, just a touch, because I'm going to be outlining the sunlight peeping through the very, very top. Feel like having the sunlight even underneath the water is one of the most beautiful feelings in the world. taking the same brush and kind of blending a little bit more of the blues in there, and a touch more of quinacridone magenta. Back in some vibrant blues right in the middle, some here, here, I just love playing around with this. It's a very tedious part about the whole painting, but it's just so fun just playing around with these blues, and even though it's be kind of like almost like hyper focused because every little ridges kind of mean a lot to the picture. So be very mindful of every little stroke because they create that effect. If anybody has remembered in my previous live streaming sessions, I always like to talk about some of the colors that I use and for which purpose that I use it for. And the reason why I really do enjoy, especially working with scenes like the underwater scenes or through like ocean scenes, sky scenes, it's a very, very beautiful color range of blues. And the reason why I sometimes choose a specific type of on the spectrum is to defy a specific character or specific emotion that I want to evoke. But generally, what the color blue truly represents to me is the color of the mind. It is the color of our thoughts and the way that we ponder about the world. So this is intentional why I wanted to use these types of repertoire colors in this painting for that very fact. So we can almost take a seat back and truly ponder and be one with our thoughts and have it almost like flow like water. I tend to really like to squint my eyes so I can almost like blur out all of the details, and that allows me to just focus on the shapes and the lines, and just this is a very good way of putting everything kind of together before diving into the details. Okay, I'm going to use the same color. I'm going to try to just ever so lightly create the beginning stages of the distant corals. Just like that. Or the mangroves. Maybe a little bit of both. I wonder what this girl is seeing. This feels like it's almost like a front row seat of this orchestra that's underwater. I'm going to take some of the lights and add just a touch bit of greens, just to add a little bit of foliage in the mix. In the distance, I'm going to be shaping some rocks, some little bit of hills going up. Just trying to create the landscape right now. The key is not to do too much of a grain because that would defeat the purpose of going underwater, and the blues will always be captured everywhere. So if it's too green, and in that far distance, the perception of the landscape would alter drastically. So we have to be mindful. The more closer the perspective is, then it's more clear, more greener, more orange, more just about a little bit of more crisp of different types of colors. So that's what I'm kind of doing right now, is just a very subtle suggestion. Deeper with some blacks into the mix, because I think we're getting more and more closer to the perspective right now. So we want to accentuate some of those details just a little bit. As you can tell, I'm just using the same brush for pretty much everything right now. Oh. It's such a beautiful, beautiful letter, Malia. Thank you so much for writing that to me. You said, 10 years ago I saw you on an interview on TV. I loved your story and painting so much that you inspire me to want to paint. I just do it recreationally, but it soothes my soul. Thank you for being an inspiration for so many. It is so beautiful how God has blessed you with His presence. Thank you so much for saying such beautiful words. That really means so much to me. And I can't tell you how many times that when I went to some of my shows, or some of the letters that were written to me via old school letters or emails or messages on social media, I can't tell you how many have truly been my building blocks for me personally, to keep going, to keep pursuing, and to keep painting. It's just, I feel so honored. I feel so honored to be a part of you guys, to be a part of my life. Just adding some of those darks back into this area. What I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to be taking one of my smaller brushes and accentuating some of the key areas that the sunlight hit the coral on the bottom. Key is not to overlight everywhere. I think that's what makes it feel like the sunlight is kind of glistening in all sorts of directions. And that's what I'm wanting to amplify, is just some spotlights. Kind of adding just a tad bit more of these like little yellow sparkles in some of these patches. Ever so lightly. I want to do is actually almost like stop in the middle, but the middle later until I paint the girl. That's when I will finish the outer layer of where the corals will just start touching the canvas on the outside, and maybe add some of those marine life that's going to be swirling around. So that's why I have to kind of go build off of some of the layers first, because having some, for example, if like a fish would swim by, sometimes I probably want it over her back. I have to paint the girl first, so I have to always play around and keep in mind layers constantly. So it's going to be it's always a work in progress. But for now, I'm kind of going to be stopping in the mid layers and then going back into the outer, the furthest, and then coming closest. It's always a dance. I'll start beginning my first layers of the girl in just a few minutes until I get these basic shapes out. Just touching a little bit of the corners of the light, just to give that glow effect. Because in the end, this will be the final layer where the sunlight is going to be piercing through the water, and that's going to be probably one of the funnest part to do. And this, like, the sun rays is captured in that world. Not too worried of going inside the lines of the silhouette, because I know I'm going to go on top of it. I'm going to be creating the first layers of the little girl, or boy, depends on how it's going to be playing around. Let's do some magenta again. Let's go back and capture some yellows. Maybe some burnt sienna as well. Be doing a very generic first layer of the skin with this medium color. It's like a very dark, very like a shadow color on the skin. almost like want to give this child a place where she is in peace, and there's no rush of the world. It just feels like everything is still quiet and serene. I think very few places we're able to truly hear our own thoughts, hear our own heartbeat, our breath. In a way, I kind of want this child to represent those moments that were lost or are forgotten. Having that sanctuary to dive into that is very, very important. And it takes exploration to find that place, to find that sanctuary. But at the end, it's the most simplest form of just being with your own thoughts, with your feelings, with your memories, and just seeing it, feeling it, and just letting go almost. And that process is very hard to do. It's very hard. And sometimes, like, I hear that it takes years and years to truly be a master at letting go. But I think if done every day, little moments, whether it's 30 seconds or a minute, just truly understanding the world around you and just being an observer. I think that's the key to true inner peace, in my opinion. One of the Karen wrote, there are so many folks that for various reasons are unfortunately confined to their homes, etc., with limited means and abilities to get out and about to enjoy beautiful museums, galleries. Thank you for doing these live paintings and sharing such beauty with so many. Your gifts are truly amazing and life-changing. Thank you so much, Karen, for writing that. That is so beautiful, and I feel so honored. Thank you so much. That's one of the things that I really do feel, that by doing these live streams, I not only am able to speak with you, but I'm able to at least share at least a little bit of this world of creativity that some people don't have access to. And I think that by creating together, by inspiring each other, that's like a domino effect to making this world much more understanding and inspiring. So thank you so much for your beautiful words. It really means a lot to me. And what better way to bring the museum or gallery to your own home that is interactive too? So I think that is, we have lived in such an amazing time, so much technology that is able to create that reality, bringing a gallery and a museum to your own home. Right now I'm kind of shaping up a little bit of that silhouette, ever so gently, with the outside paint blue. Now creating a bit of a base layer of the attire right now. Still upholding more of that bluish green tone. It would be very pretty to possibly turn this into a dress. So I'm going to gently place some of those end pieces on the bottom right here, as if it just fell off the seat gently, because she was sitting like that. I see another comment from Deborah. She says, "So well said, Miss Akiane. And not only is this important, it is important to self-reflect in the blueness of your thoughts, but spending time in your sacred sanctuary to listen to God to speak to your heart. His holy presence is so soothing and powerful of his love and wisdom. Thank you for sharing this extraordinary experience as a reminder to spend quiet time with yourself and God. Very true, Deborah. That is the whole key to creating this piece. Is reflection, spending time with your thoughts and God, and being aware of your thoughts and letting God almost be the conductor of your life symphony. I think that is very important. Oh, I see somebody from Mongolia. Bayaskalan? I think that's how I say your name right. Bayaskalan. Welcome from Mongolia. That's so amazing how this medium can spread across the whole world. That's one of the places that I truly want to visit, is Mongolia. There's just so much history there, and my mother and grandmother did say a few things that there's possibility there are traces from our own heritage, from our own bloodline goes to Mongolia as well. So there is much curiosity to explore there for my position. So I really hope in the future I'll be able to visit there. Prince K says, a bright star guides me day and night. It inspires me and teaches me to fight, as long as it holds me gently and tight. I remember her every moment and sight. What a beautiful poem. That is very rare to see and read these days, is someone truly expressing their feelings through poetry. It's so beautifully said. Well done, Prince. I'm gently kind of adding some of these lights. Just peeking through. Oh, there's another person from his name. The username is Kingdom, but it's from New Zealand. Well, welcome from New Zealand. That is so wonderful. So many international fans coming online now. I saw some were from Lithuania. I think one of them was from France, Mongolia, and now New Zealand. That is incredible. There's another amazing international fan from Madagascar I just now saw on the chat. Ando Narima. Welcome, welcome. Wow, this is so exciting today. Oh my goodness, I can't stop smiling. My goodness, another one, many from Australia. Wow, Donna and Zez and Nisa. Welcome, welcome. It must be nighttime, I think, in Australia. I used to live there actually for a few years. I actually had the opportunity to have a visa that allowed me to stay there for a long period of time, and some of my most meaningful and well-known paintings were inspired by living in Australia. And I think that it had such a diverse, like, it felt so opposite from some of the cultures that I have visited, but very similar at the same time. And I see another one from Sweden. Welcome. Oh, Spain too, Switzerland, Denmark. Oh my goodness. I just could sit here all day and just like read through all your comments, and I just feel like so connected with all you. Mexico too, Netherlands. Wow. Goodness gracious, this is an international day. Slovakia, Canada. My goodness, this is amazing. I can't believe it. I sometimes have to pinch myself every time that these messages and these paintings travel so far and wide across the world. And you know, when you're in your own studio, in your own little nook cranny of the world, you feel this is all you see. But no, the moment I'm online, it just feels the world is so much more larger and smaller at the same time. And I feel so blessed. Thank you all so very much. I wonder if anybody in the chat can actually give me some recommendations where the most bluest waters are located in the world. Is it in parts of Australia? Is it parts of Mexico, or like more Japan? Like where do you all think from your part of the world that you have the most bluest, serene waters? I'm very curious. And if you do know, just drop down in the messages and I'll see and read them. Someone from Kingdom says Maldives. I think that's probably the way that you have to say it. San Andres in Colombia. That's a good one. Caribbean. That's a good one too. St. John's and Aruba. Those are really good choices. I have to look into all of them. Maybe it'll be my next trip. Blue Lagoon, Reykjanes Peninsula, Iceland. Oh wow, that is a good option. Let's see, Lake Tahoe, Nevada, Reno, Nevada. Blue. I love that. There's so many someone wrote from Paraguay too. Wow, goodness gracious. These are really good options. I'm always on a hunt to explore new landscapes for some of my paintings. every single suggestion is very, very valuable to me. Lake Cresseta, Switzerland, Calamariolo. Oh goodness gracious, I have to work on these names. And Sardinia, Bahamas, San Salvador Island, Albania, Paskira Beach in Albania. Wow, that is such a good option. Canary Islands, I heard much about Canary Islands. Crater Lake is good too. Wow, these are great suggestions. Thank you. Oh, for sure. Crater Lake. That'll be on my list. Oh, and the Cyprus. I did hear Cyprus does have the cleanest water. Of course, Brazil. That's a good one as well. Hopefully I'm saying this right. Jönköping, Småland, Sweden. Hopefully I said that correctly. So Sweden. It probably is best to go there in like spring or summertime. Or if it's winter time, we'll have to go like in that wetsuit to go under the water. West Sea in Denmark. Oh, that's a good idea. Goodness gracious, these are great ideas. Some of the most beautiful secluded beaches were in Philippines. I did hear that as well. And actually, right before the world shut down in 2020, my plan was to fly to Thailand and the Philippines for that very reason. So maybe it's a confirmation that I definitely have to give it a try. Ragnarok? Oh, Blue Lake Rotorua in New Zealand. I think I might have been there. I definitely explored New Zealand for some time. I think I might have been there. Someone mentioned Meghalaya. I don't know if I said that right. It's very, very good options because the reason why there is going to be a very big surprise this year that I'm going to be I'm in the midst of doing this project, and one of the stops that is South Korea. So there are going to be a lot of announcements coming up really soon in regards to South Korea. So if you have any places in South Korea that you know of that is beautiful sceneries that I can visit to get some inspiration to paint, please do let me know in the comments below. I am welcoming with open arms all suggestions. I see a fan from the Philippines that just joined. Hello to you too. I'm utilizing some of these lights to slightly trace down the edges of that dress that fell off the swing. I think it's going to be a very good touch, very flowy and effortless touch. Welcome, Marta Jean. You're welcome to the community of exploring and amazing ideas and just full of creativity and positivity. This is the whole community that is all about. Welcome. I'm going to be adding some of the colors for the swing right now. I'm debating whether to make the background just a tad bit darker and this make it a little bit lighter, or vice versa. I'm kind of playing around with this idea right now, just keeping it as is, and if it changes then I'll change it, but for now I think it'll be okay. Whether it's when I start glazing it with a different blue, it might change. For now, I think it'll be okay. That's one of the things that I'm going to be doing, Zainab, is to add some fishes around her. But to do that, I have to first create the background, and then the foreground is going to come to light. It's all layers. It just has to be painted, and it has to be a lot of patience before we jump. Even before I do all the little frizzies on her hair, I'm gonna do that on the very, very last bit. Right now I'm just gonna do almost like a suggestion of her hair. I might kind of do like a little flow in the water where it kind of flows just ever so gently. utilizing this brush to make a little bit of character on the wood. Just ever so gently putting little lines on it to create those really, really thin ridges. I'm taking an extra light, bright yellow. I'm taking almost like a bit of a glob on that and just doing a very, very small little touches on top of the wood. Maybe here. Not everywhere, just certain places. Maybe just, I know it's very looked down upon to use just strictly titanium white on the canvas, but I feel that if done correctly, it's quite nice. So I don't follow rules. I'm a rule breaker when it comes to paints. So I'm gonna use a little bit of white and just touching upon some of these corners. Same thing with her dress. Just touching a little bit of those areas that are more lighter than the others. But not everywhere, that's the key. Someone wrote in the chat saying, hi Akiane, my twin daughters are watching your live stream. We're from Argentina. Well, hello from my studio to Argentina. Thank you guys for watching. I hope that your twin daughters will be able to get inspired and maybe sketch at some point or paint at some point or just be creative. I think that's the always the mission in all my work, is to inspire. I'm going to do the same thing like I did with the wood and then the dress. I'm going to do the same thing with her shoulders and her top of her head, just to give a little bit of those highlighted areas. Maribeth Stone says, will there be prints of this painting? What do you guys think? Should I make prints out of this painting? And depends on how many would like to, then we can figure it out. I think there's always a possibility to make more prints from this painting. Thank you so much, Victor, for saying that. Marcus says, Pocket feels like she has gone in another dimension world beyond the real world, living in harmony and joy. I like that. That's kind of the feeling I want to give off. It's almost like she's unafraid to be herself, but also be surrounded by this environment that is so different from her. And she's just unafraid. And quite literally is observing and just soaking up all the beauty that's around her. And I think that's why I wanted to put her on a swing, to symbolize going with that flow, going with that ever-changing tide and swing, because as you know, every body of water, it has this current, it has this pull, and if you don't go with it correctly, it can divert you and pull you in so many different areas. And if you are wise enough and are aware of it, you're able to see this strong current and go with it and come out of it and almost like play with it if done correctly. So this is what she is doing right now. So even though that's not truly seen, the current is still underwater, and she is dancing with it, playing with it, and swinging it on it. Someone says, Akiane, can you visualize the finished work, or does it just come together and appear in your mind as the work develops? I've always been curious about artists. This is from Tokaya. I think that's how I say the name. Sorry if I mispronounced it. This is a good question because a lot of times it truly varies from every single painting, every single live stream that I've done before, or any 300, 400 paintings that I've done before. Every single one is different. It usually comes one of many options, whether it's an idea and it just is a partial idea, and the mere acting upon it in the studio will start progressing and start detailing as I am painting. And if I have to add on to like a finished detail or finished subject that is missing, then I would go find a model, or I would just go into nature and get some inspiration, or it will come to me in extreme detail, extreme finished visualization from either real life experiences, whether it's a dream or sometimes even a vision, and then I will actualize it in the studio. But then there are other times where I have no idea what I am going to be doing, and from how I am able to leap into a painting by not having an idea, I will put down at least 4 or 5 main colors on the palette, and I'll just start mixing with my brush, and whatever color that is being developed in that process would be the key color for the painting, and I would just start layering on the canvas and building like a Lego. And I think that is one of the most scariest moments, when you have nothing, no idea, and no finalized painting in sight. But I feel that it's utmost necessary to go through those processes more than once, because it really grows. You really grow as a person by doing that, because it is the unknown. And quite literally, like this girl that's swinging on underneath the ocean, it is the unknown, but she is willing to be unafraid to go with that current, to look and observe, and to just be in that environment, and that is the key. Good question. Going to be adding just a tad bit of highlights on top of her head. Just a little bit. This is not realism. I would definitely say this is more of on the cusp of surrealism. But in all honesty, I don't know what the style is. I'm just utilizing this brush to create those defined color, shapes, and layers without too much detail. This would be a good base for me to begin with some of the corals in the front. I don't want to do too much color around the area, because I want all the focus to be on her, so it's going to be very thought out of the shades of the color that I'm going to be bringing out. I'm utilizing this brush to create a little bit of these stems kind of extending outward, just like underwater grass, or like a long coral just hugging underneath. I don't want to do it too bright once more, like I just really need to that most necessary to keep the balance in the eyes in the center. But if you play around with it just right, we would have the colors there, but not distract too much. There you go. I love this part where some of those layers just really come together. Just like how we did a little bit of her dress, I'm going to be doing a little bit of the highlights on top of those corals. Ever so lightly, we have to be very careful. Don't want to do too distracting. Tokai says, Akiane, thank you for sharing a little bit of yourself and your art. I know that for some other artists, this moment is unique, personal, and not everyone feels comfortable working in front of other people. Thank you so much for saying those words, and I think you are right. There is just a lot of artists out there that truly is makes this time and makes the painting a very sacred moment. And I will say painting always is going to be that sacred moment where you can just dive in and lock in, and it is a very special for me. But I know the importance of wanting to share this with all my fans, and I feel that this is the best way for me to do so. And I'm just loving it. I am loving reading all your comments, and it just almost like feels like it's almost like co-creating. So I really do appreciate you saying that. But you are right, a lot of artists do have a very difficult time to share this particular process. That's why almost to this day I don't know of other artists that do these types of reach, these types of connection. But I think it's so valuable because you can reach and talk with so many people that share the same values of just so many colors, and I really do appreciate you saying that. I'm utilizing this brush to accentuate some of the tippy tops of the corals to bring everything to life. Light is a very powerful thing to use, and if done correctly, you can feel it, you can hear their breath, whether it is a landscape or an animal or person. Like if you have light missing, it does feel that the painting is lifeless, and it's very, very important to understand that and try to make it work. This would be a good base to start creating some of the life that's around her. Just ever so lightly, I'm using this brush to create that little frizzles that are reaching out of the hair. Just kind of like drifting through the water. Like underwater wind. That's what the current is. be one of the funnest part to do, is to do the rope that is going to be connecting from the swing to the above the surface. And of course, afterwards, then I'm going to be doing a little bit of the fishes around. So there's going to be a little bit of a process, but just bear with me. I think we could do it together. Some of a darker blue, add some like a tad bit of brown in there, and just outlining the area. So let's start maybe like around here. Maybe this might be even better. I'm going to take this tape, just kind of roughly align it to where I want. Just a little straighter. Before I do all the details of the rope, there is another step that I have to do. So there's always some steps. So what I'm going to be doing after I get a generic line from the for the swing, I'm going to try to do a little bit of the fishes around, the sunlight, and then the rope on the very end. But I want to kind of gauge where I'm supposed to go, and that's why I'm just doing a very generic line right now. Here comes the fun part. Be adding fish here. Maybe another one here. Right, maybe right here. Just kind of outlining with these basic colors, probably here. so fun to do, to show, just to bring all this marine light to light, marine life to light. So I'm here, a little bit of the distance. Helena says, it's like an open door to another feeling. I like that way of how you wrote it. It's very true. And to do so, it's to evoke a feeling, to evoke an emotion. It is a very, very unique process because you have to almost create this out of nothing, this whole world. And to capture it, to evoke a feeling. And I really feel that this feeling that I want to evoke is a sense of peace, sense of just breathing in and breathing out and going with this current and just observing the whole world around without any need of changing it. Just being. I'm going to go a little bit more with the darks to showcase some of the shadows that are showing underneath the stomachs of the fishes. Painting hundreds and hundreds of fishes will definitely take time. So I'm just accentuating just a dozen or so just to give that finished feeling. One of my favorite colors that I'm using right now is the quinacridone red, and it's such a versatile tone because I'm able to create purples with this, orange, vibrant reds. It's a great part to mix with, glaze with. It's so much fun. Adding a little bit more of this vibrant orange, some cadmium-free yellow light. Mixing. It's a very, very pretty color. Just kind of outlining some of those edges on those little fishes. That's another thing I wanted to ask all of you. What would be the best title for this painting? I know one of my fans wrote just now, what should the name be? That's a great question. I am also percolating it as we speak. I always percolate the title as I'm painting, and sometimes it'll just come to me on the very, very last moment or from the very beginning, or throughout the process. And I feel that for this one, I think it would be very fun if it would be a collaborative experience if you can help me title this painting. So drop in the comments below what you think the title should be. Someone said playing in the depths, water dreamer. And I think AA Strumming says, where are you going to hide your signature? I'm going to hide my signature in this painting for sure. So that's, I always, not all of them, but I always tend to enjoy having that almost like that Finding Waldo signature. It's so much fun. Tranquil movements. There's another one that suggested Daughter of Aquaman. That's a good one. Girl in the Deep Blue, Dreaming in Wonderland. Those are good ones. Bubbles. Someone suggested bubbles. Maybe underwater bubbles. These are cute. Journey with the currents. That's a good one. There's so many who's called Bubbles. That's so cute. I haven't painted bubbles yet. Maybe I should paint bubbles. Beyond the sea. Trusting in the deep. Goodness, these are all good suggestions. As above, so below. That's a good one. Floating on the creation. The beauty of bluishness. That's a good one too. Trusting in the deep is a great, trusting in the deep is a good one too. I think that's one of the contenders. Childhood dreams. Deeper knowing. Don't be afraid of your journeys. That's another good one. Dreamer beneath the waves. That's a good one too. My goodness, this is gonna be a hard one. Oof. I think this is probably gonna be the most challenging part, is to choose from all of the great suggestions. A moment like being underwater. Current events. Oh, that's very unique actually. Light underwater, the flow. I like that too. Let's see. Dream swinging. I like that. I like that. Whisper beneath the waves, a moment in time. Passage to heaven. Beautiful as... Wow, these are really good choices. This is going to be much harder than I thought. My goodness. What if there's like 20 subtitles? Is that allowed? Secret hideaway, immersion of innocence. Oh. Happy anywhere and weightless in the deep. Goodness, these are great ones. Weightless in the deep. Secret hideaway. as I'm painting, I'm percolating all these things in my head. Swinging with the ocean. Ooh, swinging in the deep. That's a good one too. Someone, Gigglefish says international waters because since all around the world is watching. International waters. What a good concept. So what I'm going to be doing now is just a tad bit of accentuating some highlight pieces of the fishes, and then I'm going to do the fun part of the sun rays and the string of the swing. Ayer says, outside listening to the waves crashing in my hammock swinging while simultaneously watching. Perfect timing. I am so glad that I could be a part of that scenery that you are a part of. I'm debating whether to extend this string out of the canvas or keep it in the canvas. I'm debating whether to do that. So I'm gonna keep it. Add back in some of the titanium white on the very, very top, just to accentuate some of that beautiful white glistening sunlight peeping through. Just gonna add just a tad bit more light on top of the arms, and then it's all coming together. I'm sure that after this I'm going to be adding a few more details on this painting, but I think this gives that idea of what I had in mind today, of really, really honing in to that feeling of being one with the environment, be at peace with it, even if it is the unknown or mysterious. And just like this girl, she's unafraid, and she welcomes the currents on her swing. sure that I'm going to be adding a little bit more details on this painting after I'm finished for this live streaming. But I'm really thankful that you all came and watched me paint this morning. It really truly is a blessing. And I have to go through all of the titles again and on the comment section try to figure what would work best. But for sure I'm going to be choosing one of what was suggested. So I'm so happy that everything came together as I saw in my head, and I can go on and on and on to those hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of little fishes. But I think that's the fun part, what I'm gonna be doing. But at least for now, everything kind of came together, and I'm just so happy that you all joined with me today. So I cannot wait till I paint with you next time, and I will be for sure reading through all your comments once more when I am finished. And just really thank you so much for everything, and I really do appreciate taking the time out of your busy day to sit back and relax and paint with me. So until next time, thank you so much. Bye bye.